After finishing on the airfield lake, I was back on Meadow Lake. I could not get down for the start, but I was there on Wednesday, June the 18th. The lake was packed and I found that there was no night swims available. I therefore thought I'd do a few hours in one of the day swims and found a few fish in the back lagoon. A few mixers went out to see if they were interested, and when they started taking, I went and got the rest of the floater gear. The fish were only picking at the odd mixer though, and just wouldn't go near the hook bait. Eventually, after about 3 hours, I gave up and looked forward to when I could get back down the lake and get a swim for the night. My next chance was not until a week later. Not much had been coming out the first week or so, but it was still busy down the lake, and I ended up in the New Point swim. I decided to fish out the back though in the small bay, away from the pressure of the other anglers. Because the fish hadn't been feeding, I just fished a little mesh bag over to the far margin and flicked one round the corner onto the end of the spit. I settled in for the evening with no real expectation, and whilst before dark I had a take, it was only a tench. The morning brought me an early tench too, along with another one before I was about to pack away. It was 7:30 and time to be off to work, but to make up for not fishing the week previous, I decided to come back down that evening and try again. That evening again saw me with few swims to choose from, and I ended up in the night rope swim at the northern end of the lake. It was again a case of short range fishing, with my left hand rod going out 8 reps to a channel from the main lake, and the right hand rod at 11 reps to a rope where the fish's sanctuary began. Word from around the lake that still nothing much was coming out. There were no sights or sounds into the evening, and that stayed the way until the morning when I had a bit of interest on my right hand rod. It didn't turn into anything though, and so it was time at 7:30 to pack up for work. I was back just 2 days later on the Sunday when the lake was a little less busy. I walked to the western bank of the lake. It didn't take me long to find a couple of fish that were cruising up and down the western bank up from the margin swim, so that became an easy choice, and both rods were cast in that direction with a couple of spods over the top. Now I was hopeful. The morning came however with not a bleep nor a sign anywhere, and so with the quarry sirens sounding the 7:30 klaxon, it was time to go to work. A couple of nights later I was back again. My routine now was to check the day swims for any fish that were on top, and whilst I found some this time, they seemed to be small males following a female around, looking like they were waiting to spawn and not interested in my mixers. I didn't spend long waiting for them because I wanted to get in a decent swim for the night. There wasn't many, and I ended up in the winter sanctuary. I put the left hand rod out at 21 reps on a spot that had served me well in early spring, and the right hand rod I just dropped in the margin where I thought fish might pass through. Again, the lake had been quiet and not doing many bites at all, so I thought I would be in for another good night's sleep. That proved to be the case, but not a bleep through the night. And as the early morning mist burnt off, it was time to pack up and be off to work to earn a living. My next opportunity was on Saturday the 5th of July on a busy lake, and I was back in the New Point swim. This time I decided to fish just one rod in the back bay with a mesh bag, and the right hand rod fished into the main bay over towards the far corner, again with a mesh bag on, near some weed and with a few spots over the top. The fish had still not been cooperating round the lake though, with the hot weather and high water temperatures. It was just a case of hoping to be at the lake when they did switch on, and I could only hope that it was going to be that night. I don't know what time it is. I was having a lie in. Fish is a bit weeded up here. Popped up on top out there. I was getting a few bleeps this morning. This rod, I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a tench or something.
I had a tench on the other rod at 2:30 this morning. The lunge. Oh. It just pinged off its dorsal. I don't like it when it does that. I think I've lost it for a second. Are you ready? Yes. Gotcha. Okay, it was 7 o'clock when I got that alarm call. Yeah, run out there without any shoes on. Got myself a fish. Okay. What size? My first fish back on Meadow Lake. Just over 21. Very welcome. Didn't think I was going to have anything. Thank you, my friend. Let's get you back. Could have done with this before I got the take, but never mind, can't have everything, can you? Yeah, it got me up quick enough, that take. Yeah, well, I've stuck it back out there with a mesh bag, same approach, half a dozen freebies, about 3 whole, 3 crushed. Just stuck it in the same spot, 13 reps. So yeah, we'll see what the next few hours brings. I'm going to be off at lunchtime, 12 probably. Yeah, I might even pack up a little bit early if the sun breaks out, and go and have a look to see if there's any fish on top anywhere. Yeah, but I think we're going to have probably a bit more cloud and rain today. So yeah, it didn't exactly get them going last night. I heard one fish, I think, over that side, over the right there, somewhere, which got me a bit excited in my semi-sleep. But nothing apart from that tench. I had a tench at 2:30 this morning, and just stuck it back out there and seeing where my line's going. It's on the money where the spods went anyway, slightly to the right of where my first cast went. My first cast was on the left hand edge of sort of the spread of spods. This one is bang in the middle, so yeah, but tench, silverfish have probably mopped up any spod mix that was out there. There's probably freebies out there still, you know, 16 millers, but there won't be too many of those, probably 20 in all. And, you know, and the tench might have got through them. But yeah, I've not felt the need to bring it in and recast or rebait. Not the way it's been fishing, yeah. But I've had a fish, so I'm pleased. Yeah, I can go home happy. That'll keep me going to the middle of the week or whatever when I come down again. Yeah. Right, I'm not going to let this coffee go to waste. I'm going to drink it quickly and probably have another 2. We have a tench, I'm sure. weeded up tench. Okay, 11:30, time to go. Yeah, glad I got my first fish under my belt, and I'll be back during the week to try for something bigger.
Okay, so perhaps now we could start getting into some fish. And I was back midweek again on a busy lake and ended up in No Carp Corner. Decided to put the left hand rod out on a spot of 13 wraps on a gravel patch among some deep silt, which was a spot I'd caught from before. The approach was a little mesh bag with about 8 freebies in, but I also felt I should put a couple of spots over the top. I decided to put the right hand rod at 26 wraps over to the right hand margin, just off some snags. Again, it was a mesh bag on the hook bait with a few freebies in. Again, I felt that a couple of spots over the top were needed. The first one, Spook and Agree, that had taken an interest in my hook bait. I was pretty pleased with my accuracy, and it gave me the confidence that something would happen in the night.
There we go. I've actually got a fish on. I thought it was a tench. Stocky. Well, that was very strange. I thought I had a tench on there, but then it kited left. And then it felt weeded up, like a weeded up tench. I didn't really film the fight much. Not that there was much of one. It came in pretty easy. Yeah, and then I saw a piece of it, I thought, it's a carp. Yeah. But it's not a very big one. It looks quite old. Yeah, and it's quite lively now because it hasn't had to fight much coming in. Well, it hadn't fought much coming in. Right, it's unhooked itself. I've just weighed it. So, I can tell you what it is. Let's give it a splosh first. And if it stays still, please, fella, come on. Oh. Just under £15. Best impression of a tench ever, mate, didn't you? Certainly on the take. He's an old withered Miruni. Right, come on in. Let's get you back. Hold on. Well, that was unexpected. Yeah, I was just going to leave it. I was lying there and it was bleeping. It was jerking up and down, bobbing in typical tench fashion. And I thought, oh no, come on, bump yourself off. And it didn't, and it tightened up, and I thought, oh, I better pick it up. And then it kited left quite quickly. What's going on here? But tench sometimes, do shoot off. And there was a couple of tenchy like kicks on it, on the end. And it felt like it was weeded up. And it got right into the margin actually. Yeah, it was just my alarm was going over a bit of a bush. But it came in really quickly. And I saw a glimpse of it on the head torch. I thought, that's a big tench. I thought, hold on, it's not a tench. Yeah. Oh well, I'll take that. Yeah, it's a fish, isn't it? Right, it's 20 past 2 now, so I'm going to get my head down for work in a few hours' time. But who knows? Could get another take. Morning, 6:30. No other occurrences. It's very hot already. Yeah. Just having these couple of coffees, standard approach, and then time to pack away. Well, I'll take that. Yeah, a fish is a fish, especially as it hasn't been fishing. I'll be back tomorrow, probably Friday, maybe Saturday. Oh, I've just seen a good fish just top out in the bay right over there. Yeah, that's giving me a clue as to tomorrow night if I come back. There was someone doing just a day in there last night. Yeah, and it's topped out again. Right, okay. Make a mental note of that for tomorrow night. The following night saw me back at the lake with the New Point Bay free and a chance to put a rod where I'd seen that fish show. I decided, however, with the wind blowing into the bay, I was going to fish one rod in the corner, close in, and having got the cast spot on with my little mesh bag on the end, put a couple of balls of spod mix over the top and half a dozen freebies for good measure. The left hand rod though was going to be the one that gave me the most confidence, and so I hooked the mesh bag on with half a dozen freebies and aimed for the end of the spit. The cast was spot on and I was confident enough to put a couple of spods over the top. Having seen that fish show the morning of the day before, I was hopeful that it hadn't moved and that there were others with it. I settled down for the evening. As the light faded, I wondered how long it would be before one of the rods went off. That turned out not to be the night, but the morning came with a couple of shows not far from where my left hand rod had been placed. That caused me to bring in the right hand rod and decide to put that out also in that direction. It was time for a mesh bag and a flick out there in the general direction of the fish. Morning. Just gone up to 6:30. I've been up since 5, and for the last half hour I've been watching a fish top out in the same spot. So I've swapped the rods over, pulled in the right hand one, and just put a little mesh bag on a fresh bait and just cast it out to the area where the fish was showing. And about 5 minutes later, not even that, it showed in a different place now, further round to the right. It was clean out the water then. I thought it was a small one. It's not that small, but yeah, it was clean out the water. Oh, there we go. So how about that then, hey? It'd only been out about 5 minutes where I'd recast it. Yeah. And the fish had showed further over this way, so it's either a different fish or it's charging around everywhere. So yeah, it's only a little one, but it's a fish. So I'm just going to swig my coffee down, give it a couple of minutes to rest, and then get it out of the net for you. Don't think the needle's going to go around very far on this one. Uh-oh. Don't go off now. See, a couple of loops on the other rod. Right. Come on, behave. 13 and a half. Pretty little fella. On the other side, give you a quick bit of treatment on those lifted scales. You've been spawning, by the looks of it. Okay, right, let's try treat you. Propolis. Side. Right. Okay. We're good. Come on, little fella. Let's get you back. Fish. Another one. Fella. I was just going to pull the other rod in. Now I've got, feels like it's weeded up a bit. It's coming in nice and easy. Very easy. Is it even a carp? That's a tench. It's a tench. Right, what's the time now? 20 past 7. I feel there's still bites to be had out there. I thought that was a carp, that tench. Absolutely tore off, didn't it? Yeah, there's still some activity out there. There's your bubble coming up or whatever, and the ripple and fish breaking the surface. So don't think we've got much of a window. Probably another hour or so before the sun gets too high in the sky, and then I think that'll be it for the day, which is just as well because I've got to go a bit earlier today, about 10, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I've quickly got them back out there. One at 21 wraps, just off the corner there, that I've just put out, and the other one I just didn't clip up or anything. I've just flung it out there in the general direction of where I can see the activity. So yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? Enjoying this session. Yeah. Right, I'm going to celebrate with a third cup of coffee, and I'll, if nothing else happens, then I'll catch you when it's time to pack up. Okay, it's 8:30 now. Activity's died right down. I think that's probably it. There's no signs out there that I'm going to get a bite. So I think I'm going to give it another half hour. I'm pretty much packed away, just trying a bit of gear out, a bit of condensation. And then I'm going to probably have a little scoot round, see if there's any fish in the margins or whatever that I can stalk or have a go at with floaters just before I go. Right, well I drove around the lake and looked in most swims and saw nothing, and I've just walked the day swims here and similarly seen nothing. So yeah, but I enjoyed that session, yeah, and I've enjoyed my first few weeks back on this lake, Meadow Lake. It was slow to start with, but it's picking up a little bit now. I've caught 3 on the trot, I think. They're not big, but you know, it's not fishing that well. The big ones will come, I'm sure, and I'll be back probably middle of next week to see if I have then, but probably not because this weather's going to hang around for a while. But yeah.
I was back the following afternoon after most had left the lake. The margin swim was a swim of choice, with me flicking one short into the margin. Again, it was a couple of balls of ground bait over the top and half a dozen freebies, with a mesh bag being whacked down the margin on the right hand rod as far as I could cast it. I was in the groove now with 3 fish in a row, and although they hadn't been big, I thought it was only a matter of time before the better fish would come along. There were no signs, however, to suggest that they would that night, and sure enough, the morning came with no activity on the rods. The hot weather and warm, deoxygenated water was still a factor, I felt. It was time for a week's work, but I will be back at some point during it. The Thursday saw me back in No Carp corner. This time saw me fish the left-hand rod out at range on a favoured spot, and the right back out on the spot near the snags. My panoramic view of the lake gave me no signs of fish into the evening, and the only action was in the middle of the night, being rudely interrupted by a tench. A misty morning followed, with that now being 2 blanks in a row, and I wondered when it was going to be when I would get back into the fish again. I was down again on the Sunday afternoon, with the lake a little less busy, but with no news that anything decent had come out at the weekend. On packing up in No Carp corner a couple of mornings before, I'd seen a fish show around the little island, and so decided to put a mesh bag out there with just a couple of spots over the top. The left-hand rod was just fished as far as I could down the margin with a mesh bag. As I set up for the evening and watched the sunlight fade from the far margin trees, I wondered if tonight could be the night that a decent fish came along. The bottom well. Could be my first decent meadow fish. Just about a month after I started on it. Please don't come off. Yes. Oh dear. Gotcha. Oh. Well, it's just gone 11 o'clock when that rod went off.
It's earlier than I thought. Yeah, I wasn't much into a deep sleep. Now, I think I've had this fish before. Okay. Right. This one's an old warrior. I've had this fish before. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. Please. £30 12. It's blind in one eye. It's got a pop eye on the other side. Looks like an old, a very old one. I know how you feel, mate. I'm old, so I'm going to quickly do this side and get you back. Come on. You've been very good. Very good. Come on. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. Oh, he's gone. Well, I was just about to put it back out again and get a bit of a shower. So I'll just show you what my little setup is there then. So I've got my, let's focus in on it, foot bait wrapped in Belican paste. I've got a little ball of Belican paste inside the mesh bag, and then there's about 8 freebies in there, half of them crushed. A couple of PVA nuggets just to hold the hook bait away from the hook, and stop the hair from tangling around the hook or around the line. And also where I've put the hook through the bag, also sort of make sure that it gives it extra strength there so it won't pull off from the cast, fall off from the cast. So yeah, that's what I chucked out before and what I'm going to chuck out again. Yeah. Eventually, when it stops raining. I think I had that, well, I know I had that fish from the swim before, and I'm thinking it's a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, at the start of the opening. And I did a bit of floater fishing and caught one in there, 28, from just down the margin there. And then after that I had that fish, I think. Yeah, it was around 31 then. And I filmed it as I was putting it back. I had the camera under the water. An old warrior. Well, an old acquaintance now. Yeah, as soon as I've met him before. Come on, rain, hurry up and stop. Well, when it does, I'm going to put the rod back out in the same spot. I don't think it's going to go again. I mean, I would imagine that fish is a bit of a loner. But you never know. And then I'm going to get my head down. I'll be quite happy to go right through to the morning and go to work. Fish around the island there. Morning, by the way. Needs to go around that side. Just waiting for my first cup of coffee to be ready. Second coffee. I'm a bit slow to get going this morning. It's all the excitement of catching a fish. A decent fish. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. So it's taken about a month. But then not a lot's been coming out. There's a bit of movement out there this morning. yeah, the odd fish topping, and I had a couple of crashes during the night down there, down the margin. It's just a shame because I now can't fish for a week, probably. May get down next Sunday, this coming Sunday now, as it is. But realistically, it's probably going to be into the following week. So yeah, just as it starts to pick up again. Never mind. Yeah, it would have been a lot worse if I hadn't caught that fish. It just shows you that you know, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but to put it out there in that spot where I saw that fish a couple of days ago worked, and using the old Can paste worked. I've just put an order in actually to Oriental Food Suppliers for another 5 blocks of it. I bought it originally, I don't know why I thought to buy it. I thought, right, I'm going to put something different in the spod mix. I did it before, years ago, which made me popular because it absolutely stinks, doesn't it? So I used to grate it with a cheese grater in there, and then a little bit of hot water with the spod mix, and it would soak into it nicely. Yeah, just hit upon the idea, I think, of a bit of extra added attraction if I'm not going to be putting much bait out because it's not been fishing, then just sort of boost what I am putting out there. So yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah, that'll keep me going actually, having that fish. It may be another week before I get down, but that'll keep me going. Right, well, I'm going to quickly woof this, glug this coffee down as quick as it will let me. It's not that hot, put a bit of cold in. And then I better get a shift on and get packed away. Okay, well let's hope that this change in the weather and the drop in water temperatures marks the start of some decent fishing. Yeah, I'll be back in a week to find out. Can't come down before then, but oh, one's just topped out there. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be back in a week to find out. I'm wondering what's going on down here. But in the meantime, that's it for this video. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you very soon.